And we deplore it because it seems like, you mean these 5 people that you never see are like one good friend? And they look at you like, you know, what are you asking me? I'm satisfied with my being able to text 5 people whom I never see. If they're satisfied, who are we to begin to say, it's a disaster, you people don't know what you're missing? Well, maybe they don't know, but maybe they're better adapted to what the world is becoming than I would be if I were that age. So I prefer to say, I don't know where we're going, but I think if we watch the young people, we may find out from watching them where we are going.
And my guess is that if we were to undertake seriously to answer the question of how do you do OD with these very different systems, that we would do well to start with an empathy walk. Really trying to get into the skin of people who live in those systems and claim they thrive in them.
Building a little bit on what Ed especially saying fits with Roger too, is that in response to the question of what do we do with virtual organizations, technology and all that, is that, and as we seem to agree, we don't know. And isn't that wonderful? That's the piece I'd add. Isn't that wonderful? I mean, this world is changing and growing. It's not the world that I started in, you know, and I don't know where the hell it's going. I get scared sometimes. But what could be worse is I did know. Is I do have an answer for you. You know, and I know it's right. You know, and I'm telling you that there is huge opportunity here. There's huge scary possibilities too. But I'm very encouraged as I face the difficulties. I'm also very encouraged about the possibility. We've been predicting for centuries the demise, the falling of, the collapse of the world or the political system or whatever. That this will happen sometime, okay? I'm not convinced that that's happening right now, and I know that if I get caught up in the negativity of all that, I will turn off my creative, and if you get caught up in it, you'll turn off your creative juices and you'll operate in a more cynical fashion than we're already operating in, so, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know either. But I do have a fallback position. And that is, we never really know what the future is going to be. But we do know some fundamental truths. And we do know some principles. And I think that if there was an easy answer for the dilemma, there would be people out there giving it, or you wouldn't even be asking it. But I really think that, for example, if we understand the principles of a whole system, of an organic system, and we still have organic systems, even though we're place-based, we have to pay attention to the interconnectors of the elements of those systems. And so the question really then becomes, what's the health of those interconnectors? And what can we do about the health of those interconnectors given the reality and the availability of technical resources that we didn't have 15, 20, 30 years ago. But if we go with the principles and our fundamental values, we're in the best place we can be in dealing with the challenges of today and, I'm sure, greater ones coming.
So I'm really curious in terms of going back to Geoff's original point.
Where is it?
Yep, sounds like you're back here. So keep looking.
Is really, I just recently graduated from the OSR program and starting a consulting practice. And I agree, I think we are taught a lot of sort of QuickBook approaches to doing it. And I'm wondering in terms of, as I look out into the OD field, that's what I'm experiencing, that it is very segmented and very specialized. So I'm really curious because I like to play and sort of weave and use the different approaches. I'm wondering from your perspective where to find a culture in sort of the OD field that is really open to actually collaborating with people in a way that is not in necessarily the specialized approach? Where do you find those people and what that look like?
My experience is 20 years in a partner, 20-some years as a partner in a consulting firm, working mostly with large corporations and medical schools, is that every consultant is their own integrator. And every one of us chooses from this infinite variety of possibilities and methods those things that resonate to us in here, and that we believe we can make work, and that we believe are responsive to the needs of the client. And we hand make the interventions every single time for the situation. That's what I did for 20 years. I never repeated myself twice in the entire time I was consulting. Now, since I've been doing future searches, I've never done anything else. So for the last, since 1993, I've done the same thing over and over and over again, taught people how to do that. However, that microcosm is my learning laboratory, and that structure includes everything I ever learned. And every time I do one of these events, which creates the kind of world that I want to live in, here and now in the room, so the future is always happening now. Every time I do that, I see something I never saw before in my life. So you can go either way.
I heard something else in the question.
Well, I just wanted to finish my thought about this is not exactly in the form of advice, but it's something to think about. But I really do believe the future never comes. The future happens in the present. The past is present in the present. And the present recedes into the past minute by minute. So the future. So it behooves us, if we really want a better world in the future, to create that better world in every meeting that we have, whether it's virtual or face-to-face. Because the entire planet proceeds from one meeting to another. The whole OD profession is built on meetings, whether it's one-on-one or two-on-two, or whether it's 2,000. That's the building block. And if you can't make that meeting a microcosm of the way that you want to live, you're not going to have a better future than the one you got. That's how I keep myself going, because that's something I have some control over.
I thought I heard another part of the question: how do you find colleagues that you can be comfortable with? At least for me, that has been an issue. And I think you find them at workshops. You keep networking, and sooner or later you find someone who's sort of on the same wavelength, who has the same values. So when you get asked you can't do the job, would you recommend someone else? That's the operational question. Do you have some colleagues that, yes, I would comfortably recommend that particular person for this particular thing? And I think you find those people through a networking process.
Well, I have a piece to that. Back to the other part of your question, maybe. I think that's excellent advice there. The other part, when if you're looking for ways to apply your ideas, reach beyond the traditional organizations that we talk about in OD programs, and look out in the community. If you can put aside your need to make money and focus on people who are trying to do some good, and you don't talk OD a lot, but you bring your OD ideas, you can have some wonderful little experiments that serve other people and serve you. But a lot of when we step into the money-making, it's important, but the money-making part of it, then we also step into the structures that provide money. And a lot of hierarchy there in traditional ways, and that's harder. But if you want practice, like we do in the Community Consulting Partnership that some of you have been part of, if you want practice, then step outside that money-making, money-paying community.
Oh, thank you. How do you navigate that? How do you navigate that interface between knowing what you're trying to evoke from a client or situation and telling them what you're trying to evoke between a client and a situation? It seems like over time No. It seems like there's